Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Anne Nwawodo.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, electorate in two states, Nasarawa and Abia, elect local government chairmen and councillors to serve for the next 4 years. As the world marks the 2024 Polio Day, Benue State government enlists the support of development partners to eradicate the disease. Former Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo challenges Christians on the need to exemplify good leadership while reflecting on the power of transformative leadership. And Kemi Badenoch promises change after historic Tory leadership contest victory. Barcelona manager Hansi Flick calls for suspension of La Liga matches after Spanish floods, and that's in sports news tonight.
And on business news, global ratings agency Fitch retains Nigeria's credit rating at a favorable B- level with positive outlook on President Tinubu's economic reforms.
Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State is promising to ensure financial autonomy for local government areas in the state. The governor stated this after casting his vote earlier today at the polling unit 002 in Akwanga local government area of the state. Residents are electing local government chairmen and councillors for the 13 local government areas and 147 wards of the state. Our correspondent Halima Gayam reports.
Residents of Nasarawa State go to the polls to elect chairmen and councillors as states comply with the Supreme Court order for the financial autonomy of local government areas. Accreditation started at 10 a.m. in most of the polling units, simultaneous voting. 11 political parties are participating in the exercise, with the People's Democratic Party staying away from the exercise.
To me, I can say that the voting is going normal, and everybody is free to vote for what he's here for. That is what I know about this election. We know that the election is about free and fair, and this election is credible and free and fair election. And anybody that is here is allowed to carry out his vote based on what he's here for.
Governor Abdullahi Sule casts his vote alongside his wife at polling unit 002 Motor Park at Goody Ward of Akwanga local government area. He commends the process, assuring that his administration will fully implement financial autonomy for local government areas in the state.
From what we are hearing all over the state, I met with the security agencies this morning and they told me everything is going smooth everywhere so far. So we thank God for that. Local government autonomy is a process that actually must be respected because a law that has already been established, by our National Assembly. Therefore, we in Nasarawa State have always respected the autonomy.
Former Governor Tanko Almakura joins in the exercise in Lungu Wamboi polling unit in Lafia, the state capital.
It is a very popular election. It is free and fair, and people are conducting themselves in the most expected manner, where the winner of this election will be a candidate, a chairman for all the people of this constituency.
In what can be considered as a peer review mechanism, the chairman of the Ebonyi State Independent Electoral Commission monitored the exercise and commented the process.
So far, so good. At least we have noticed that the places we visited, that the elections are going on peacefully. No violence, no acrimony. People have freedom to vote for persons of their choice. We also see that there is security for the people who are coming to vote and those voting. We also notice that the there are enough materials, sensitive and non-sensitive materials available.
Though the exercise did not record any incident, there was low turnout across the 13 local government areas of the state. Halima Gayam, Channels Television News.
Still on elections for local governments, Abia State Governor Dr. Alex Oti has expressed satisfaction with the conduct of the polls in the state. Earlier today, Dr. Oti arrived at his polling unit in Ishialangwa South local government area with his wife, Priscilla Oti, to cast his vote. The governor harped on the need for good governance at the grassroots.
Well, starting from here, you can see that everything is peaceful and people are coming out, voting and living. So I believe, like you can see, that it's peaceful. Now, I've also been monitoring what is happening in the other local governments, polling units, about 4,062 of them. And the report I get is that everything has been peaceful and smooth, except a few skirmishes in places like Ohafia and Obingwa. And as soon as we got information that some people were trying to disrupt the election, we mobilized security men and they've brought everything under control.
On July 11, 2024, the Supreme Court delivered a landmark judgment affirming the financial autonomy of local government councils in Nigeria. The watershed judgment attracted various reactions across subnationals, with many states scheduling dates for the conduct of local government elections. This report reviews the conduct of the elections, highlights the intrigues, and, of course, their peculiarities.
Since the July 11, 2024 judgment of the Supreme Court, which affirmed the financial autonomy of local government councils in Nigeria, at least 13 states across the Federation have held local government elections. Some of these states include Adamawa, Anambra, Akwa Ibom, Bauchi, Benue, Jigawa, Kogi, Kaduna, Kano, and Rivers states. One common trend that has continued to agitate the minds of some politically exposed individuals is the fact that the ruling party in many of these states cleared all the seats in the elections. An analysis of the results from the just concluded local government elections shows the influence of the ruling party in the state on the outcome of the polls. In most cases, the ruling party in the state clears all the chairmanship seats, leaving one or two councillorship seats for opposition parties. Mr. Clement Wankwo, a lawyer and human rights activist, shares his thoughts on the matter.
There's a vacuum in terms of the constitution defining what are the next steps. How do you get local government officials elected? It leaves that to the State House of Assembly, and so state electoral commissions are then created, and those state electoral commissions do not exist in a way that is independent and makes them able to conduct independent elections.
However, these are not the only intrigues that played out in these elections. For example, in Rivers State, the incumbent governor, who was a member of the People's Democratic Party, supported the chairmanship and councillorship candidates of another political party. The Nigeria police also refused to provide security during the exercise in Rivers State, and some area council secretariats were set ablaze by suspected arsons. The Inspector General of Police later ordered his officers to restore law and order after violence broke out following the outcome of the election. Similarly, the election in Kano State was held amidst conflicting court orders. The police also shunned the exercise, as the State Independent Electoral Commission conducted the exercise with the help of vigilante groups who wielded sticks and locally fabricated swords.
To organize local government elections.
Mr. Wankwo shares his thoughts on how the conduct of local government council elections can be fine-tuned.
My proposal would be that you do have a National Election Commission that is constituted to conduct local government elections. Now, the word constituted means that we have to find a way in which it is constituted such that it does not become an instrument in the hands of the government at the center. That means that its constitution, these national states electoral local government commission must be constituted in a way that you have input from the states, you have funding from the states, and you have it independent of the states and the federal government.
Nigeria operates a three-tier system of government, namely the federal, state, and local governments. However, the local governments have been the weakest tier of government, a situation many hope will change following the latest decision of the Apex Court on the financial autonomy of local government administration.
The Commissioner of Benue State for Health and Human Services, Dr. Yanmar Ortese, is asking parents and caregivers to prioritize vaccinating their children as the only way to protect future generations from the risk of polio. Speaking at a press conference to mark the 2024 World Polio Day in Makurdi, Dr. Ortese emphasized that a polio-free state ensures a safer future for children and strengthens public health and prosperity for all across the state.
This year's theme, Vaccine Works for All, captures the heart of our mission to protect every child and every community through the power of vaccines. On this World Polio Day, I urge every parent, caregiver, and community member to make routine immunization a priority. Vaccinating children is the only way we can protect future generations from the risk of polio, reinforcing that vaccines are safe, effective, and essential for all. I encourage all families to visit their nearest health facility for routine immunizations and to support health initiatives within their communities. Dispelling myths and misconceptions about vaccines and reinforcing confidence in our immunization programs is essential for us to reach our goal of a polio-free Benue. As we celebrate today, I call upon our stakeholders and community members alike to reaffirm their commitment to a polio-free Benue.
The federal government has released funds for the payment of withheld salary of non-academic staff union of federal universities. The Office of the Accountant General of the Federation made this known in a statement in Abuja. According to the AGF, the federal government has also released funds for payments of benefits to retirees under the Nigerian Union of Pensioners Contributory Scheme sector. And the AGF says the payments to the non-academic staff of federal universities had commenced, and many have already confirmed receipt. The office reiterated the federal government's commitment to efficiently cater for the well-being of Nigerian workers and retirees. In part two, after the break, we shift attention to the annual Market Impact Conference as former Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo challenges Christians to exemplify good leadership. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. Electorates in Nasarawa and Abia State elect local government chairmen and councillors to serve for the next 4 years. As the world marks 2024 Polio Day, Benue State government enlists the support of development partners to eradicate the disease. Former Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo challenges Christians on the need to exemplify good leadership while reflecting on the power of transformative leadership. And Kemi Badenoch also promises change after historic Tory leadership contest victory. The Lagos State government and critical stakeholders have expressed their commitment and support for the Lagos State Geographic Information Service Bill, which aims to provide a harmonized central database for land processes across the state. The Special Advisor on EGIS and Urban Development, Mr. Olajide Babatunde, who disclosed this during a retreat in Lagos, says that the quick passage of Alagi's bill will support development programs like tourism promotion, industrial development, property valuation and revaluation of effective taxation and revenue collection in Lagos.
A megacity like Lagos State, with a population of over 20 million, requires a land administration database for proper planning and urban development. Efforts towards achieving a central database for land purposes is the reason for the stakeholders gathering at Ikeja, organized by the Office of Electronic Geographic Information System, to brainstorm with the executive and legislative arm of government on how to implement a bill that will strengthen State Geographic Information Service.
The bill now is a bill for a law to establish Lagos State's Geographical Information Service for the harmonization of all geographical information service projects to provide a computerized central database and for all other connected matters.
The Lagos State House of Assembly is willing to fast-track the passage of the Lagis bill to enhance processing of land certificates.
Lagis bill is comprehensive framework designed to enhance the efficiency of land administration through digital innovation, transparency, accountability. Our discussion today will play a significant role in referring the bill to meet the needs of our citizens and aligned with global best practices.
So the bill has done the first reading, it's done the second reading, we've done all the process, we're at the final stage of the bill. And it is important that we dot the T's, or dot the I's and cross the T's. And that's what we are doing. And I know with this part that we have taken, we would get there.
The Special Advisor on EGIS and Urban Development says once the largest bill is passed into law, it will ensure property valuation and revaluation for effective taxation and revenue collection in the state.
When this bill comes to law, you should expect that during this time, in our times of Governor Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, under the team's agenda, the Teams Plus agenda, we're going to be able to process building approvals seamlessly. What we Itato did maybe in 10 days or 20 days or 3 months, we would be able to do in minutes. Your wait to do searches, within a few minutes, has come to pass because we're working to ensure that through technology, that we're able to get you to where you want to be.
Once the Lagos State Geographic Information Service Bill is passed into law, issues of delayed land processes as well as building approvals will be a thing of the past.
And staying in Lagos, the House of Representatives Committee on Ecological Fund has conducted an on-the-spot assessment of some areas in Lagos affected by erosion, pledging rapid intervention to tackle environmental challenges affecting the state. The team, led by the Deputy Chairman, House Committee on Ecological Fund, Mr. Shino Yedeji, alongside Lagos State Commissioner for Environment, Mr. Tokunbo Wahab, assure residents of the affected areas of disbursing ecological funds to address the environmental issues.
Members of the House of Representatives Committee on Ecological Funds is in Lagos for an on-the-spot assessment of some areas affected by erosion in the state. The team moves around the state, accompanied by the Ministry of the Environment and Water Resources, inspecting gully erosion sites that have not only threatened local infrastructure, but also become a dump for illegal waste disposal. Alade Buckner Estate off Fagba Road is one of the areas affected by environmental disaster. Next stop is Songwater local government area, where extensive damage of drainage systems caused by erosion is evident, and the government assures of taking necessary steps to address the issue by utilizing the ecological fund effectively.
The reason why we're doing this now is that we want to see how we can change the way we use the ecological fund. No small amount of money can help any state to solve this problem. So we really need to see for ourselves and advise properly how we can pull more fund for state to actually do what they need to do. These are not jobs of 20 million, 200 million. These are billions of naira jobs. So, but if we do not see it, how do we justify? So we have seen it.
For us, it's about the collaboration between states and federal. Ecological funds and intervention fund to help states reach Sokoto people, fix ecological challenges. There's a pause on disposing ecological fund deliberately, which shows there's a deliberate plan to rework the system. And if this is what activates that, it is right.
At Agboiketu, the area flooded due to the gradual release of water from Oyon Dam. Some of the residents are already used to the current situation and having fun in the water. The committee members say the environmental issues in Lagos State will be dealt with.
We have gone around the country and we are looking at areas that need immediate intervention, and this is why we are in Lagos State today. So this is Agboyi Waterside. We have gone to Ifakojaye, we have gone to Obawole, we have gone to different areas across Lagos State. We have gone to Maidon as well. And these are areas that, the flood that happened there has claimed some lives. And this is why we thought it's a matter of emergency that the federal government intervenes through the ecological fund. As soon as we leave here, we are going to do our report and ensure that immediate intervention is done to ameliorate the suffering of my people here.
While the committee's visit gives hope to the people living in gully erosion affected areas, the people will be looking forward to a swift action to address these pressing environmental challenges in Lagos.
The Minister of Works, Mr. David Umahi, says that work will soon begin on the Section 3 and 3B of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road with the approval of the design by President Bola Tinubu. The minister said this during an assessment tour of the ongoing project in the company of members of the National Assembly. He also clarifies the issues surrounding the diversion of the road project in the Okunaja area of Lagos, which has generated lots of talking points in recent times.
When you're hearing about Okunaja, when we got to Okunaja at kilometer 16, we discovered that we have a lot of cables that is coming from the ocean. Many people, do not understand that. And so instead of going by the design corridor, which was the gazetted corridor 25 years back, in 25 years, these cables were not there. So now they are there. You recall that in about a month ago, we had a cable challenge, that disrupted, network throughout the entire West Africa. So we didn't want to go through that challenges. And of course, the people reported to Mr. President. And of course, we sat down, with the community, we sat down with high tech, and then we decided to divert the coastal route. So when you hear people talk about that we left the gazetted, corridor, it's for this reason, because you are talking of multi-billion naira cable network at that location. So we had to divert at kilometer 16, and then we now resurface at kilometer 25. And that's where you'll be hearing that, some talk all sorts of things, short of saying that we're bribed. to now divert this thing. But this is the major reason why we diverted at that location. And that is it. So we are coming before the middle of December. We will flag off Section 3 and 3B because it's been designed. We are just looking at the cost.
Former Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo has called on Christians to exemplify good leadership and reflect the transformative power of Christ in the marketplace. He was speaking at the second edition of the annual Market Impact Conference organized by Jesus World Changers Apostolic Mission. The convener of the conference, Pastor Dr. Olubayode Awoshika, charged the Christians to live up to expectations. Our correspondent Chris Illems reports.
It's the second edition of the annual Market Impact Conference, organized by Jesus Word Changers Apostolic Mission. Guests are of varied backgrounds, eager to feed on the offerings of the conference hinged on the theme, Living by Kingdom Values, the Transformative Journey. The conference charge is delivered by the convener and senior pastor of the Jesus Word Changers Apostolic Mission, Dr. Olubayode Awoshika, referencing the book of Proverbs 29:2.
As kingdom ambassadors, we must influence governance by upholding justice, integrity, and servant leadership.
Keynote address by Professor Yemi Osinbajo, former Vice President of Nigeria, takes cognizance of the role of believers in impacting the marketplace with emphasis on creativity and productivity.
These days, it's rare to hear our pulpits condemning official corruption in government or executive corruption in private businesses and the professions. Officials in private companies take bribes and kickbacks. They do deals with the organization's money. And the organization, and rather than give the organization the money, they pocket all or part of the profit. They are not condemned from the pulpits. How often do religious organizations who receive large sums of money from public officers or even privately employed people bother about the source of the money?
Other speakers, including Bishop Matthew Kuka, Cosmos Maduka, and Governor Alex Oti, who joined virtually, draw attention to Christian values, politics, and leadership.
If you are a Christian who is in politics as a politician, or a politician who is a Christian, the reactions will be different. Because if you are a Christian who is a politician, the question of your pastor is calling you, president is calling you, the content of the manifesto of your party, which you are struggling to uphold, and the contents of the Bible, which is your source of inspiration, the decisions you make determine whether you are a Christian who is a banker or a politician, or a banker who happens to be a Christian.
One finds that when governance is disconnected from the principles of the kingdom as established in the Word of God, social misery and discontent become inevitable.
With the second installment of the conference done, participants and the conveners share these messages.
We must rethink and reset ourselves as a nation. We need to go back to those principled, godly principled, value-based systems in running every area of our lives.
There's a bit of a problem that many of us, we are Christian in churches. We are not really Christians in a place of assignment, and there are more people outside our place of assignment than those we find in churches.
Be a light where you are in your place of assignment, and be a salt. When you are light, you can expose the ills and it will be corrected, and you can do the right thing. They will see you in the light, and people will go after it without your word.
According to the scripture, the church is called to be the light of the world. However, being able to navigate the marketplace and still hold firm the values and virtues of righteousness will no doubt speak louder than mere words. Chris Illems, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, global ratings agency Fitch retains Nigeria's credit rating at a favorable B level with positive outlook on President Tinubu's economic reforms. And that's in business news. Please stay with us. Welcome back. The rainy season is over, but residents of parts of Lokogoma district in the Federal Capital Territory are recounting the impact of flood in their area. Some residents who spoke to Channels Television described the flooding as an annual experience, which most times leads to loss of properties worth millions of naira. They're also asking the Federal Capital Territory administration to address this challenge.
On this bright and beautiful morning, we arrive at Efab Estate, one of the residential areas in Lokogoma district of the Federal Capital Territory. For years now, the area has been ravaged by annual flood, which most times leave residents helpless. This bridge, which used to serve as a canal, is in ruins, and the fence of the gate falling off as a result of heavy water flow during the rainy season.
Television, chairs, beds, they're all out.
Some of the residents have to seek alternatives to prevent the impact of the flow.
Said about this place from the past. Fashola even entered here. It will enter here. The former barricade that was here protecting the house, the flood pulled it down. I have picture to show. Pulled it down, and then after that, I didn't have a choice than to spend 2.2 million and some stipends on top to build this retaining wall to be able to secure my property, my life, and my children. I keep on maintaining this, and when this flood is coming, it comes with all manners of reptiles. That they use
Now, this is daytime. Several other bridges linking the area to other communities are giving way. Residents have to come up with this makeshift ladder for easy passage.
Project it from where?
2019, that was the first flood, and the water got to my level here inside the house. My brother had to break the kitchen to bring me out. It was that bad. It's so terrible that when it's raining, I can't sleep. I have this phobia, like I get scared, so I have to leave Lokogoma till after raining season before I come back here. How will I leave a house that is bought by my mom for us to stay? And my mom is a pensioner, so where are we going to move to? And this year's rain was so bad that it affected everything. Everywhere here is bad. Look at extension to Dogonga, that the bridge is going to come down, connecting to here. So please, we are asking the FCT minister to come to our aid.
As you can see from what you've seen now, the roads have been cut off. The bridges have been cut off. In fact, those of us along 105 road, because that is the lowest point, we are always at the receiving end. Like me, for example, now it has affected my family. My children are no more here. They've been relocated to Onitsha, one to Lagos, while I'm here alone. And I bought this house with my gratuity, hoping to come and live peacefully, to enjoy my pension life. But today, it's not the case.
The residents count their losses and urge the FCT administration to address the challenge.
If you look around, we've seen the minister actually working. I give that to him. So he should let us feel his impact in Abuja by coming to our aid. We've tried our best, but it's only government that can help us right now. So Yeson Wike should just try and help us, because this is a cut across all the estates in Lokogoma, not Efab alone. Unfortunately, we are the receiving end, because we are the last estate that cut across the other Duboi district. So government should really come to our aid, especially now that we are seeing him working, and he should join our own plea to all others.
When Channels Television contacted the coordinator of the Satellite Town Development Agency, Mr. Abdullahi Zulkafi, for comment on the situation, he declined to comment, stating that he is not allowed to grant any media interview.
From infrastructure to the power sector, the federal government is asking states to think beyond the national grid and secure alternative power sources that will provide a dependable backup at a time of crisis. This appeal is coming from the Minister of Power, Mr. Adebayo Adelabu, who visited Kano State in the wake of the devastating power outage in the north that has left millions without electricity for over 9 days. Our correspondent Sadiq Ilyasu reports that Mr. Adelabu stressed the need for states to become self-sufficient, highlighting the importance of immunity against the national grid disruptions.
The minister touched down in Kano just a day after power was partially restored to the north. His first stop was the Kano Distribution Company, where he met with key stakeholders to discuss solutions. From there, he went on to inspect critical power stations in the state. The managing director of Kano Distribution Company pointed out that clearing the right-of-way was vital to ensuring smooth and expansive distribution of power across Kano State.
TCN cannot be able to really do this particular project until when they have right-of-way and the responsibility of the authority to really pay for compensation and other, technicalities in the state government. So that is why if you see part of the visit, we are able to meet with His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kano State, ably represented by the Chief of Staff, just to have this kind of engagement and stakeholder management, so that we seek the support of Kano State government in terms of, clearing this issue of right-of-way.
Despite the 9-day blackout, the mini-grid in Kano's Zawachiki area stood as a shining example of resilience, remained uninterrupted throughout the crisis.
During the blackout, we were able to guarantee the estate and the community 9-hour daytime supply, because as you can see, it's a blended plant. We use solar to generate during the day, and then we use the grid to complement it at night.
Having blackout in the entire of the north, 19 states.
At the government house, the minister urged the government to think proactively, highlighting the urgency of protecting Kano from future power interruptions.
To visit the governments of the states for us to discuss areas of cooperation, areas of collaboration, areas of partnership. Because the issue of electricity supply is not one that one entity can handle alone. It must be a collaborative effort. So we need government, and we must be able to sit down and forge a very dependable partnership.
The Chief of Staff to the Kano State Governor, Shehu Sagagi, made a passionate appeal to the federal government causes Kano residents suffered during the blackout.
Government has to think of a way to compensate this industrialist for this long period of loss, because it cannot go, business as usual.
This visit underscores a vision where states have the tools to provide power to the residents of the state, ensuring no community is left in the dark. Sadiq Ilyasu, Channels Television News.
We head to Taraba State now, where the governor, Mr. Abu Kefa, says that his administration is determined to turn around the infrastructure deficit, ensure economic development and food security in the state. The governor says this will leverage on the 2023 Electricity Act to launch a new hydroelectric power project that will serve the state and the country as well, and take the lead on energy development, becoming a net exporter of energy by transforming Taraba into a state of opportunities. He was speaking when he held a Taraba Critical Stakeholders Engagement meeting in Abuja.
This meeting between Governor Abu Kefa's Taraba State stakeholders, China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation, and developers of Taraba State Master Plan is to chart a new course for the development of the state. The meeting is a follow-up to the governor's working visit to the president of the Chinese construction firm CCECC in Beijing, and the discussion is focused on energy development, infrastructure, economy, and food security.
The signing of MOU between CCECC Nigeria Limited and the Taraba State Government is a remarkable milestone and will serve as another outstanding proof of our commitment to development of Nigeria. We fully understand the significance of infrastructure, energy, natural resources, and food security to the progress and prosperity of Nigeria.
With a concentration of development on the state capital for decades, the state government believes expanding development to the unreached population will rapidly expand transformation with a comprehensive master plan of 2024 to 2050 that will stand the test of time.
In most of the states, you find out that the concentration of a master plan, a development master plan, is normally in this capital city. But in this one, both the state capital, the senatorial districts, and all the local governments are integrated. You will have a growth that integrates the whole of the state and exploiting the potentials of each of these zones. So this is completely unique.
Governor Abu Kefas, on his part, says he's committed to unlocking the rich potential of Taraba State by forging new paths towards a vibrant economy with the launch of a new energy project.
Our ambition is to launch a new hydropower project with CCECC that will serve Taraba and our neighboring states in the northeast, making Taraba a net exporter of energy. 2, infrastructure and natural economic development. We have made strides in infrastructure development, but there is still much more to be done. By working with CCECC, we can expand our road networks, improve transportation system, and harness our natural resources, including minerals and agriculture.
He insists on transforming the state's infrastructure, thereby ensuring economic development and food security via mechanized farming in the state.
We are blessed with vast agricultural potential. Taraba can and will become the food basket of Nigeria. But we need sustainable development plans, mechanized farming, and better storage and processing facility to make this a reality.
Parties to the agreement signed a memorandum of understanding with the China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation and assures residents of speedy development to unlock the rich potential of the state.
For Nigeria to overcome food insecurity, government at all levels must prioritize agriculture mechanization to bridge the wide gap between food production and geometric population. Now, this is one of the takeaways from the Smart Agripreneurship Summit held at the main auditorium of the Olufemi Balogun Ceremonial Building of the Federal University of Agriculture in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. The program, sponsored by Assetrise Limited, seeks to train and engage 1,500 students per annum on sustainable agricultural practices through strategic partnership for global competitiveness.
The event, Smart Agripreneurship Project Summit, is put together by the Assetrise Limited in collaboration with the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, as part of the commitment towards sustainable agriculture development for food security. About 1,500 students of the University of Agriculture are being enlisted to cultivate 1,000 hectares of farmland, 1 million tubers of yam, as part of the commitment towards solving food insecurity in Nigeria via innovative agro practices. The event attracts the presence of members of the university community, officials of the Ogun State government, students, among others, as the initiative targets these budding farmers in whose hands lie the future of food security and sustainable agriculture practice, with the aim of scaling up their agricultural knowledge towards engendering commercial agriculture for food and income.
The sub-project has been aligned with structural planning to help us identify key movements in agriculture, partnerships that we can create, market collaboration, and also partnership with students across federal universities of agriculture to make this movement a lofty one.
The Ogun State Commissioner for Agriculture and the Vice Chancellor of the University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, advocate for strategic partnership with emphasis on international best practices and value addition in agriculture.
This will not only increase food production, but ultimately it will ensure food security, create direct and indirect jobs, to raise local and regional markets, increase tuber seed availability, among other benefits.
I want to believe that this is going to be an initiative that will contribute very significantly to the success of our students and all the other relevant stakeholders. And let me also appreciate the Directorate of University Farms, who are the drivers of these initiatives in collaboration with other partners, to say thank you for all that you are doing for our university.
Some of the students and development partners commend Asset Rise and express their support for the initiative.
We will provide funding to support our students who will want to plant seeds. We will provide funding to our teachers who will want to be part of this team.
I've been able to learn a lot, like a lot, like how to invest in the business, how to go about the business, how to like process and how to connect with people.
This done, the Group Managing Director of Asset Rise leads other dignitaries to farms where 1 million tubers of yam have been planted for harvesting next year.
Churches in Nigeria have been advised to consider politics a divine responsibility and engage governing authorities on socio-economic and political issues that affect humanity. This charge was given by the keynote speaker and chairman of the Mazi organization, Dr. Chima Amadi, at the second session of the 10th Synod Lecture of the Anglican Diocese of Ebu in Imo State. According to him, when the church becomes more involved in politics, it will create a better political, economic and social environment for Nigeria in the short and long run.
It's the second session of the 10th Synod Lecture of Anglican Diocese of Igbo, holding at the St. Mary's Anglican Church, Umokoro, Ngopala, Local Government Council of Imo State. Gathered here are the clergymen, women, youths, dignitaries, and indigents of the state.
For development to be sustained and meaningful, it must be anchored on godly leadership.
Without much ado, the guest speaker mounts the podium to deliver his address on the topic, Nzubechuku, God is a Thinker, Development as a Godly Mandate. The lecture explains the need for the church to participate actively in governance and politics so as to breed a crop of political leaders that have the fear of God.
To fulfill the divine mandate of righteous development, the church must begin by raising a new generation of leaders who reflect the character of Christ. These leaders, like Christ himself, must embody humility, putting the needs of others before their own. They must lead with integrity, standing for truth even when it is costly.
He says for development to be meaningful, it must be anchored on godly principles.
God's perfect creation was a product of his divine thoughts, and he has passed on the responsibility for development to humanity. We are called to mirror this intentionality in how we live, grow, and lead. Whether we are developing our character, our communities, or our world, we are participating in a divine process that began at the foundation of the world.
The federal lawmaker representing Diato North and South Federal Constituency, Ikenga Ugochinyere Imo, who is also present at the event, agrees with the guest speaker on the role of the church in national development.
We cannot develop now. We are sinking, we are going down because there's no strong institutions, and until we build that strong institutions, then we cannot develop. He is right 100%. There will be no development because there's no strong constitutional and electoral institution today because politicians have bastardized it. Their friends in the judiciary have also helped them to bastardize it. There is going to be reawakening, and their reawakening will bring that revolution that will bring a new dawn for you to have those institutions.
Because we are a nation that profess one form of religion or the other, and I can't remember any religion that advocates evil. And we're saying basically that leaders today should imbibe the culture, the values that is espoused in this religion. And some of that culture includes selfless service to the people. Now, we have said basically in the lecture that if they imbibe these values, that the people will see it positively in terms of development.
The takeaway from this lecture is the active participation of the church in politics will not only strengthen Nigeria's political and economic foundations, but also inspire hope and unity within communities. Eyitokwe Kutai, Channels Television News.
From religion and politics, let's head over to the world of business, where Ladi Williams is standing by to take us through.
Thanks, Anne. Well, in business, global rating agency Fitch has affirmed credit rating at B- with a positive outlook, citing the country's progress in implementing economic reforms. That's for Nigeria. In a statement released on its website, the UK-based agency says the affirmation is supported by the country's large economy, relatively developed and liquid domestic debt market, and large oil and gas reserves, which have reduced distortions. The ratings by Fitch also coincide with the stance made recently by the World Bank and the IMF, which says the country is on the right track with the policies. In May this year, Fitch revised Nigeria's long-term credit rating up from stable to positive due to government's reforms in monetary policy, foreign exchange, as well as the oil industry. And latest data from the central bank shows that Nigeria's foreign exchange reserve sustained its accretion until the last week of October, marking its increase for the 9th consecutive time. According to the latest data from the central bank, the country's external buffers climbed by $326 million week on week to $39.77 billion as of October the 30th. Analysts attribute the latest increase in the country's external reserves to the improvement in forex liquidity from increased foreign portfolio inflows. And foreign exchange trading activities between banks and their clients at the FMDQ exchange ended in the red this week as total turnover of transactions carried out fell to $865 million at the close of the week. This amount represented a 41% week-on-week decline against the more than $1.49 billion value of transactions recorded last week. According to the FMDQ, the week-on-week decrease in total turnover was solely driven by the drop in turnover on the FX spot segment of the FX market, while no activity was recorded on the FX futures and derivatives segment of the market. Elsewhere on the FMDQ platform, the Naira depreciated by 0.72% to 1,664 Naira 91 kobo against the dollar at the Nigerian Autonomous Foreign Exchange fixing window, in contrast to 1,658 Naira recorded last week. And trading activities in the domestic bourse ended the week negative, no thanks to intense selling in the last 4 trading sessions of October. The impact overshadowed the loan gain recorded on Friday, the first trading day of November, and caused a 2.03% decline in the all-share index. The significant loss was largely affected by the industrial goods counter of the market and attributed to profit-taking on the shares of Boa Cement, while losses from MTN Nigeria, Aradel Holdings, dented the gains recorded on banking and oil and gas sector of the NGX performance. Meanwhile, Transco was top among 38 gainers with a 314% increase. Aradel led 44 other losers, down by more than 25%, while the trio of Fidelity Bank, Chams Holdings, and UBA were the top 3 contributors to a total of 2.71 billion of volume of shares traded this week. And that's it from me in business news. It's back to Anne now, the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you, Ladi. In the world of sports, Super Eagles defender Semi Ajayi has been ruled out for 4 months after picking up an injury while in action for his English club, West Bromwich Albion. Also, his manager, Carlos, says that Ajayi will need surgery. Now, this means the 30-year-old will miss Nigeria's 2025 AFCON qualifiers against Benin Republic and Rwanda, which are scheduled to hold for November the 14th and the 18th. In the English Premier League, Alexander Isak scored the only goal as Arsenal dropped points against Newcastle at St James's Park. Bournemouth stunned Manchester City 2-1 as goals from Antoine and Evelyn gave them their first victory over the defending champions. Jordan Ayew scored deep into stoppage time as Leicester City denied Ipswich Town a first league win of the season as the game ended 1-1. Liverpool came from behind to beat Brighton 2-1 at Anfield and go top of the league table on day 2 as the title rivals both suffered defeat. Elsewhere, Nottingham Forest beat West Ham United 3-0 courtesy goals from Chris Wood, Callum Hotzing and Super Eagles defender Ola Aino. Adam Armstrong hit a late winner as Southampton claimed their first league victory of the season by beating Everton 1-0 at St Mary's Stadium. Outside our shores, Nigerian-born Kemi Badenoch has been emerged victorious in the race to succeed Rishi Sunak as UK Conservative Party leader.
Olukemi Olufunto Adegoke Badenoch, born 2nd of January 1980, is a British politician who has served as leader of the opposition and leader of the Conservative Party since November 2024. She previously served in the cabinet under Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak from 2022 to 2024. She has served as Member of Parliament for North West Essex since 2024 and previously represented Saffron Walden from 2017 to 2024. In 2012, Badenoch unsuccessfully contested a seat in the London Assembly but became a member of the London Assembly after Victoria Borwick was elected as an MP in 2015. A supporter of Brexit in the 2016 referendum, Badenoch was elected to the House of Commons in the 2017 general election. After Boris Johnson became Prime Minister in July 2019, Badenoch was appointed Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State for Children and Families. In the February 2020 reshuffle, she was appointed Exchequer Secretary to the Treasury and Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State for Equalities. In September 2021, she was promoted to Minister of State for Equalities and appointed Minister of State for Local Government, Faith and Communities. In the February 2023 cabinet reshuffle, Badenoch assumed the position of Secretary of State for Business and Trade, following the merging of the Department for International Trade with elements of the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy. Badenoch retained the responsibilities of Women and Equalities Minister. After the Conservatives' defeat in the 2024 general election, Badenoch was appointed Shadow Secretary of State for Housing, Communities and Local Government in Sunak's shadow cabinet and later launched her bid to become leader of the Conservative Party in the 2024 leadership election. She defeated Robert Jenrick in the members' ballot, becoming party leader and leader of the opposition.
I would say congratulations to her. And the main news again. Electorates in Nasarawa and Abia State today went to the polls to elect local government chairmen and councillors to serve for the next 4 years. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Mwawadu. Good night.